trip to the Galapagos Islands started in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. From there, we flew 600 miles to the Galapagos Islands, boarding our boat at San Cristobal Island, home to a large colony of sea lions. Next, we journeyed to Genovesa, formed from a collapsed volcano, to photograph nesting frigate birds, boobies, and other seabirds. From there, we sailed to Fernandina, the youngest and most active volcano in the archipelago, to see the flightless cormorant and marine iguana. Next stop was Santiago, where we had the chance to explore the many tide pools that are home to several species of heron, oyster catchers, and iguanas. Santa Cruz, the oldest of the islands, provides us with a chance to see the Galapagos penguin and the famous giant tortoise. The last island we visited was Española, where we photographed the famous blowhole and had a chance to get up close with the huge waved albatross. The entire trip lasted 10 days. With a population of almost 1.5 million people, Quito is the capital of Ecuador. Located in the Andes Mountains at an elevation of 9,300 feet, this sprawling metropolis stretches for more than 20 miles.
Quito was the last capital of the Inca Empire because right after...
Roberto is explaining that what is now Ecuador once formed part of the northern Inca Empire until the Spanish conquest in 1533. Colombia, Venezuela, and Quito gained their independence between 1819 and 1822 and formed a federation known as Gran Colombia. When Quito withdrew in 1830, the name was changed to the Republic of Ecuador. Although 67% of Ecuadorians are Roman Catholic, indigenous beliefs are mixed with Christianity in the rural areas. The equator runs through Ecuador just outside the city, where the Middle of the World exhibit provides entertaining proof that we are indeed halfway between the North and South Poles. This was a very special trip for us. Taylor, our 10-year-old granddaughter, came with us to explore the wonders of this part of the world.
Now repeat the same on the equator line.
Our home for the 8 days we spent exploring the Galapagos Islands was the 83-foot yacht, the Letty. This was a family trip with 7 children, aged 8 to 14, and 8 parents or grandparents. The accommodations and food were quite good.
So you live on one of the islands? Just thinking of, even displaying their current dance as well.
Milena and Jason, our naturalist guides, provided a wealth of information, adding to the fun of being up close to the unique wildlife that inhabits this very special place. Galapagos boobies, with a wingspan that can reach 5 to 6 feet. Unlike other boobies, the Nazca booby breeds on an annual cycle, which varies from island to island. On Genovesa, eggs are laid from August to November. Courting is still going on at this time of year, and the smaller male can be seen whistling to attract a mate. The blue-footed booby really does have blue feet. This gorgeous animal is certainly the most famous of the Galapagos birds. Courtship, mating, and nesting take place all year round, with 1, 2, or 3 chicks born. The male's clown-like courting behavior is one of the highlights of any Galapagos trip. You guessed it! The red-footed booby is the smallest of the boobies. It is also the most numerous, with about 140,000 nesting pairs resident on Genovesa. They feed far out to sea, avoiding competition with the larger boobies. Their behavior is quite different from other boobies, building rudimentary nests in trees, as opposed to defining crude areas on the ground. Like the blue-footed booby, they mate at any time of the year, but lay only 1 egg if the food source is plentiful. Frigate birds, with their long scimitar wings and forked tails, hang like sinister kites in the wind. They pester terns and other birds to release their catch. Frigate birds have a very small preening gland and are not able to secrete enough oil to waterproof their feathers. Therefore, they cannot dive underwater to catch prey. The courting display is quite spectacular. The males have scarlet gular pouches, appropriately shaped like hearts, hanging under their necks, which are inflated to football-sized balloons. It takes about 20 minutes to fully inflate the pouch. The male displays it skyward in order to attract passing females. In the structured world of the frigate bird, it is the male's job to find twigs for the nest. Since frigates will not hesitate to steal twigs from their neighbors' nests, the female must stay home in order to guard their nest against thieves. Male and female frigates alternate rearing the chick. There are only a few native mammals on the islands, including about 50,000 Galapagos sea lions. They live up to 20 years of age and gather in groups dominated by one male called the beachmaster. Females and young sea lions are very friendly, allowing us to observe them up close. This is a peaceful time of the year. Pups were born a few months ago and will nurse for about 5 to 6 months before venturing out into the water to fish. The sea lions are surfing in the waves, so let's get on our snorkeling gear and try to swim with them. That is, if I ever get my fins up. Fur seals, which are smaller than sea lions, have a protruding ear and much denser fur. It is this trait which attracted sealers in the 1800s, almost decimating their population. Today, fur seals are protected and have fully recovered here in the Galapagos Islands. We're on the way to our campsite, situated in the lush highlands of Santa Cruz Island, and we welcome the night on shore.
I call the tree house. I call one of the tree houses. Any of the tree houses. I call that one.
Lodging for some of the kids will be in one of the tree houses, while the rest will stay in a comfortable tent cabin. This region is home to the giant tortoises for which the islands are named. Galapagos means saddle in Spanish, a reference to the shape of the tortoise shell. We are very fortunate to spend the night among these gentle giants.
So we did all of that. Okay, let's see. So Ben.
Instead of a rocking boat, we were lulled to sleep by the rain and a cozy fireplace. Of all the wildlife in existence today, it is the giant tortoise which best symbolizes the Galapagos Islands. They have tremendous water storage capacities, which enable them to survive long periods of drought. This trait became a curse as sailors harvested them by the thousands for fresh meat on long sea voyages. These 500-pound vegetarians have a very slow metabolism, taking up to 3 weeks to digest a meal. Although written records have not been kept for a long enough period of time, scientists estimate lifespan at 150 to 200 years. In fact, one of these animals may have been here when Charles Darwin made his short visit in 1835. As you can imagine, finding a partner can be a very time-consuming and frustrating process. We don't have enough time to film the tortoise's departure, even with the tape sped up 400%. The Charles Darwin Research Station has been running a very successful breeding program, and these 6-inch youngsters will be rehabilitated into the wild once they mature.
On the count of 3. 3. Is everyone okay? Yes?
We went snorkeling every day, finding rays, sharks, turtles, penguins, and lots of fish. Iguanas, penguins, and many other seabirds line the rocky shores, making this a very special place, in and out of the water. The Galapagos penguin is endemic to these islands, which means it is found nowhere else on Earth. In fact, it is the only member of the species to cross into the northern hemisphere. Undoubtedly, it came here following the Humboldt Current, which brings cold water up from the coast of South America. Severe El Niño conditions in the early 80s caused a serious food shortage, resulting in over 70% mortality of the Galapagos penguins. Since then, their numbers have increased, but many scientists believe this species to be endangered. Reaching a length of more than 4 feet, the marine iguana is the only seagoing lizard in the world. It adapted to feed on underwater algae and seaweed when these volcanic islands lacked vegetation. They sneeze frequently to expel excess salt from glands near their nose. They can dive to depths of 40 feet and hold their breath for an hour. Being cold-blooded reptiles, they need to warm up after a swim in the cold waters. The land iguana is known to live for more than 60 years, feeding mainly on low-growing plants and shrubs, cactus, and fallen fruits. The succulent plants provide them with the moisture they require during long, dry periods. They grow to more than 3 feet in length and can weigh in at 15 pounds. This bright, colorful crab is found on almost every rocky shore in the Galapagos Islands. Its name is Sally Lightfoot, and unlike most crabs, spends most of its time out of the water. They are a favorite food of the herons, which lie in wait for the crab to come close. In 1972, 3,500 people made their home in the Galapagos Islands. Today, more than 10 times that number live here, with the accompanying problems of pollution, overfishing, and the detrimental effects of introduced species. Today, fishing and tourism are the major industries, with several 100,000 people visiting the islands each year. The Galapagos Islands are a World Heritage Site, but in 2007, UNESCO labeled it endangered. Just outside of town, we had the chance to visit a lava tube, created when the surface of a rushing river of lava cools and solidifies quickly. The inside molten lava keeps flowing until the tube is empty. The last island we visited was Hispaniola, home to the largest bird on the islands, the waved albatross. With a wingspan that can reach 8 feet, this bird spends 4 to 5 years at sea without ever touching land. There are 12,000 mating pairs of waved albatrosses. The entire population nests on this island, producing 1 chick at a time. After 6 months, the parents go off to sea, leaving the fledglings to learn to fly and to fend for themselves. The flightless cormorant, which is endemic to the Galapagos Islands, is a perfect example of Darwin's theory. With no known predators, this seabird lost its ability to fly. Its wings are only 1/3 the size that would be required for a bird of its proportions to fly. With only 1,500 estimated individuals, it is one of the rarest birds in the world. The Galapagos Islands are home to 19 resident species of birds, with 5 of them endemic. Due to its geographic location, the Galapagos Islands and their surrounding waters encompass a truly unique oceanic environment. Since Darwin's time, the natural wonders of the Galapagos archipelago have inspired and awed its visitors, and we were no exception. We hope you have enjoyed this brief introduction to this very special place, with the understanding that we were fortunate in seeing it much as others have seen it for hundreds of years.